Welcome to the Re-Entry Archive. It was Bliss, a psilocybin experience. A friend hit me up one day, said he could get hold of some mushrooms. When an opportunity like this comes up, I am not one to waste time. I jumped at the opportunity, and within a couple of hours, I had acquired 3 grams of mushrooms. I had not taken any psychedelics recently, so I was very excited. It was a Saturday, around 5 p.m. I took the mushrooms in place of my dinner. I hadn't eaten for 6 hours. I just ate them raw. Not the most pleasant taste, but completely bearable. I immediately began to meditate. I did this for about 10 minutes. This always helps with my anxiety and really helps set the tone for the trip. After opening my eyes, I felt very different. While this was more than likely just from the meditation and placebo, I definitely felt a shift in my perception. I began feeling the first real effects within 45 minutes. I would look around my room and feel something was off. I felt disorientated, but could see and move perfectly fine. At this point, I began to see visuals, but they were very subtle. My white room took on a blue-green hue. Around an hour in, I felt a sense of peace rush over me. I got feelings of warmth throughout my body, and I felt incredibly good. I have trouble coming up with words that accurately describe the psychedelic headspace, but I was certainly put into it. The way I thought about and perceived the world, as well as myself, changed dramatically. The visuals were nice. I couldn't focus in on any object without it swirling around me. I started playing music as I began to really come up. The music had a specific sound to it that I tend to hear when heavily under the influence of psychedelics. It's like every single note and word coming from the music had a punch to it. Needless to say, no matter what song I played, it sounded fantastic. I began to feel an energy growing inside of me. I decided I wanted to be outside, and that I would take a bike ride. I had some trouble getting up and walking properly, or at least I perceived I did. Once I was on my bike though, I had absolutely no problem steering, braking, and accelerating. As I started pedaling down the sidewalks of my neighbourhood, I couldn't help but feel incredibly happy. I watched as the world around me vibrated with beautiful shapes and colours. I would look to the trees and see nothing but patterns coming off them. Somewhere along my bike ride, the introspection began. I started to think about myself and the man I am becoming. I felt a sense of confidence and contentment with who I am as a person. I felt a love for myself that I rarely feel. It was bliss. I cannot stress this enough, the cognitive euphoria I was having. It was at my personal maximum happiness, and I was having such a great experience. As I continued riding my bike, I looked and saw that the sun was beginning to set. I was frankly amazed by the beauty of the sky. This is around when I was peaking. Everything around me was pulsating with an indescribable energy. I saw some very detailed geometry on pretty much everything, and I felt so unbelievably good. I felt a certain way that I've never felt before. The only word I can come up to summarise what I felt like is real. I felt like I'd been reassured into reality somehow, like I fully understood the cause and purpose for my being here. I don't quite understand to this day this part of the trip, or what exactly I was feeling, but I hope one day that it dawns on me. When I returned home, I sat down in the middle of my driveway. I remained here for a while, observing the world around me. I recall seeing the grass become a purplish green, and the sky become a very deep blue. I then went inside and took a load off. Relaxing in this state of mind felt amazing, especially with music. I began to smoke weed around 9 p.m. I then started tripping very hard. My room shrunk and expanded, while everything in my vision drifted and had patterns on it. I was ridiculously high until I eventually fell asleep an hour later. The next day, I woke up in the same remarkably good mood. I spent the majority of the day in nature, enjoying the afterglow of the experience. Occasionally, I would have visuals similar to the ones from the peak of the experience, but the highlight of the afterglow, for me, was a calm, relaxed, anxiety-free headspace that lasted a long while. You don't have to have lived through an experience to learn from it, so let's take a few moments to reflect upon what this journey might mean. During this experience, there was a momentary realization of unconditional self-love. This was followed by the realization that self-love is not something usually felt in daily life. This alone is a profound thing to acknowledge and opens the door to further deep self-inquiry. Several questions come to mind. If it is not self-love, then what are the typical feelings directed towards the self? What prevents feelings of self-love from being automatic and innate? Is the feeling of self-love a challenge because you don't think you deserve it? It's important to recognise that whilst the experience was able to facilitate an instant of unconditional self-love, this moment didn't occur through the teaching of a new skill, but through the remembering of a long forgotten one. The ability to love and trust and value ourselves is innate, but for many reasons, adults often grow up having learnt to repress these feelings. Nothing fundamental changed during this experience. The capacity for self-love was always there, but in this one moment, the mind allowed itself to experience it. With this liberating knowledge of this freshly remembered capacity for self-love, the main questions to take away are: what if you were to act like you were already enough? You now know that you have the capacity to love yourself unconditionally. So why not do it?